welcome back to Cardvoyant. I'm Kris, and I'm your Cardvoyant, and I'm coming to you today kind of au naturel. I just decided to do this video really quickly, and so turned it on, and no makeup, nothing, just kind of going with the day. And the reason I'm jumping on is because I had kind of an interesting experience that I wanted to share with you. Um, Last night, I was trying to do a little bit of meditating as I try to do, and I'm telling you, it's sometimes difficult, as I'm sure you know. Even when you have things that you know you should do that are good for you, sometimes it's one of those things where you just defy even your own best interest. So I had I often meditate in the morning, but decided to try. I have been lately kind of meditating a little bit at night as well. And I've also been reading a new Seth book, which, if you haven't read any of the Seth books, there's several. And Seth is a channeled entity that was channeled by Jane Roberts in the 1970s. This book is called The Individual and the Nature of Mass Events, I believe is the full title. I just downloaded it on my Kindle, so I didn't even have to go anywhere to get the book. But I had known about the book, but I thought now would be, particularly interesting time to reading it and to be reading it, and it is fascinating. But part of what's happened as just in my entire journey, the past maybe decade of reading Seth books, um, is that feeling that this is something that I might be able to do on some level. When I first started sort of this spiritual journey, um, the idea of channeling was very strange to me. But then as I got in these books, it's been more interesting. And last night, which brings me to last night. Last night, as I was meditating, I felt myself almost slip into a new, maybe kind of an altered state of consciousness. And I clearly heard like a message. And part of the message was that I should be writing this down. So I grabbed a notebook, and I have lots of notebooks. Maybe I'm like you, laying around my house. I was professionally a writer for many, many years, and worked in journalism for many years. And that's one of the little, like, peccadillos, I think, of a lot of writers, is that you just tend to collect notebooks. So I have them all the time. So I grabbed this one because it's mostly empty, and I just started writing. So instead of trying to like reinterpret the message that I was receiving, and it wasn't very long, but I felt it rather profoundly, and so I thought I would just read to you what I have written, and it's very short, so it'll only take a couple of minutes. So of course I was thinking about everything that's going on right now, and it was scary to me because I knew that I had to go out to the grocery store today and get a few things. And anyway, it was just everything that's been going on. I'm sure it's on all of our minds, like, constantly. But this is what I wrote. It's what I have written here. It says, "The truth we are being taught. This is the truth we are being taught." And then some questions. See how easily it spreads, how viciously, how mercilessly. See the unintended victims. See how we cannot avoid being connected. And yet, we must, or must try, to disconnect. Do you see how painful that is to us? You are not meant to be isolated. You are meant to be eternally, undeniably connected. And so, choose wisely what you spread. This is a harsh reminder of reality. And these reminders need not be necessary, but there is much here to gain. Love, forgive, share, nurture, thrive. And then the last thing I've written is peace we leave with you. Peace we leave with you. As I was getting these messages in like very clear sentences and words, I had sort of images, and these images of this rapid sharing of that this virus is symbolic of, that is happening, but it's also a symbol of how we are all connected and how rapidly things can be shared. And then also this idea of isolation, the isolation that we're being forced into, how unnatural it feels in so many ways, and how unsustainable it is. And then this whole idea of this being symbolic. Do you see the ways, the things that have been spread over the past, 10, 20, 30 years, ideas, I mean, throughout the history of mankind, but in particular, the escalation just the past few years of mistrust, distrust, um, hatred, division, greed, anger, lawlessness in so many ways. And and it was just this idea that in a society such as ours where we are linked and there's no way to avoid being linked because we are all one in reality, in that kind of a world, things spread. And we have to think about the things that we want to allow to spread and the things that we have allowed to be spread. And that is these sad and bad um, and sort of awful and divisionary things. This hatred and this greed and this sense of being different. And this is a message that we're receiving loud and clear right now. How easily things are spread, how they need not be evil or bad things that are spread, and how unnatural it is to be disconnected from each other. I mean, thank goodness we have these kinds of mediums to connect with one another, um, you know, social media and all kinds of technology. And yet, as we do that, as I sit here in my little room, my space, and you're in your little room, your space, and we know that we shouldn't or would be advised not to connect physically with each other, how unnatural that feels and how frightening and isolating that feels. So the idea is to choose wisely what we spread, and the things we give each other through connection. And of course, the message that that I have here on the second page, that was there's much here to gain. Love, forgive, share, nurture, thrive. And then also the peace that they leave with us from the other side, from the non-physical world. So I just wanted to share that because it was such a powerful message to me. It was felt so very real. As I read it again, I feel like they're not even my words that I had written down here. I just wrote what I was feeling and what came to me. And I'm hoping that there are powerful messages that we can share with others that we know and learn from, and come out of this come out of this better after having been through it. So there you have it. I have another video that I did that is in the Zoom process because I'm using Zoom for this. And of course, the entire world is using Zoom now to connect with each other. So that I have a video that's still processing, and then hopefully this I've done in kind of a different way that will allow me to get it to you quicker. So, and we'll go from there. We'll have some other videos and other things going on. But just as these my guides did in this message, I would also like to leave you with peace and hope and love. So until next time, I'm Kris and I'm your clairvoyant. Bye for now.